Hello everyone, I'm Mike Cahill and welcome to another edition of Hatfield Currents, a news magazine type show that's produced by Hatfield TBD Productions. Today's show is a real special show. It leaves the topical issues of like annual town meeting and budgets and voting results to another day. Rather, today's show will be more of one of those historical shows where we showcase a community resident that has a very interesting background and some really interesting personal town-related stories to share and information to share with us. Our guest today is longtime resident Giles Desmond, better known to everyone in the community as Desi. If you don't know him already, you either haven't lived in town very long or you haven't driven through the center of town and across from the town hall seen a sign in front of a house that says Desmond's Barbershop. That's where Desi lives, and that's been his place of business for years and years and years now. The idea for the show actually originated from a visit that I had with Desi that took place a couple of years ago. I was walking by his house one day, and all of a sudden he was out on the front porch and he was waving to me saying, Mike, come here, I've got something to show you. And I said, okay, I'm gonna go and spend some time with Desi and we'll have a little visit and I'll see what he wants to show me. I'll tell you something, as soon as I left Desi's house after probably spending a good half hour to an hour with him, I felt that what I had just experienced had to be recorded for any sake, and including that for posterity. It was just something that I felt that we should do, and that Hatfield Currents should do especially, for posterity's sake and for those of you who are taking time to watch Hatfield Currents from time to time at present. So we're going to get into that conversation that I had with Desi a couple of years ago in this show today, and try to, as much as possible, replicate that, bring it back again, so that not only am I having a conversation with him again, but so will you people be able to participate in this show and understand what I heard and appreciated very much a couple of years ago. So without further ado, I want to welcome Giles Desmond to Hatfield Currents. Welcome, Des.
Thank you, Mike.
It's good to have you here.
Good to be here.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you were able to break away from the shop today.
From the routine.
The shop is closed at this point, obviously, the barbershop. Yeah. And as soon as you get back from the show, you'll be able to hang the open sign out there and do some business.
58 years, Mike.
Yeah. When we met that day, it was a conversation that was mostly about you and your family and how you ended up in Hatfield and some of the decisions that you had to make along the way, a career that you passed up, and lots of stuff about Hatfield personalities, and some of whom are no longer with us. So let's see if we can recollect that conversation a bit for old times' sake. So here I am, I'm walking in the door, and you're saying, Mike, come here. I want you to hear something.
Yeah.
And so you walked over to your CD player, which we have here in the studio.
Yep.
And you threw a CD in there, and you pressed play,
Yep.
and something came out of it.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to the background of how this all started.
Okay,
all right?
that sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah. See, and this is 1971.
Yeah.
I made a tape, Mike. See. Now, I couldn't afford to go to a studio.
Right.
So I just went in the front room, closed the door, put on a record, and I didn't even know what was coming up. See? Oh. So, and away we go. So, and this is what happens.
Yeah. So you decided to record something
Yeah,
back in
yeah,
1971.
71.
Okay.
So the kids made me a disc
Of that recording.
of that recording.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just recent.
Great.
Of course, I gave you one, and I gave quite a few people. They got some.
Right. They've got a copy. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I've always loved music.
Right.
And I was blessed with an ear for music.
Right.
Yeah.
And I knew that I knew you had a phenomenal, wonderful singing voice. Having heard you sing on a number of occasions.
That was funny, Mike. That
throughout the
came
community.
later in life.
Yeah, but I didn't know. What I didn't know, and what completely took me by surprise, was what I heard on the CD.
Oh, yeah. I could really whistle back then.
Right. All right. So this was back in 1971 when you recorded this.
Yeah.
Because you felt it should be recorded. Let's play one of the songs anyway, whichever one you'd like to
I'd like to
play. And I want you all to listen very closely to a skill and a talent that I never realized Desi had, and is incredibly rare. I think
it's a gift.
in this day and age, and in any day and age, it certainly is a gift.
It's a gift. We all set, Mike?
Yes. So that's
Gunas Ave Maria.
Ave Maria.
Gunos, Mike.
Gunos.
Gunos Ave Maria.
Ave Maria.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what he turned on for me when I walked into the room and sat down. And my first impression was obviously it was a phenomenal talent, whoever was doing this. And he was playing it for me, and I said to Desi, "Was that you?"
That's me. That was me. That's
so
for sure.
Tell us a little bit more about this talent, which has since gone away.
Yeah.
But tell us more about
it
this.
It started years ago, Mike, when I was about 13, 14 years old. I was going out at least 3 to 4 nights a week. Back then, a man by the name of Ted Hopkins played the piano. And we'd go into Worcester, we'd go to, in fact, I was on the radio, Born Bread Hour, and he'd be playing the piano, and I'd whistle all Sousa. It was all Sousa back in those days. Yeah. And my father would be after me, to learn to play the piano, Mike. I had my own instrument with me, but
all the time.
I should have learned how to play the piano. But it went from there to minstrel shows, and in fact, when I moved to the Valley in 1952,
right. So where did you grow up? When you were 13, where were you?
I was going to Worcester, into Worcester.
You were in Worcester.
Yeah,
Okay.
Nightclubs.
Okay. Now, where did you live?
Oh, North Brookfield, my home.
North Brookfield. Okay.
Yeah. See,
All right.
that's Connie Mac's hometown, Mike.
Okay. Yes.
His real name is Cornelius
Nice
McGillicuddy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's.
So you moved to the Valley.
Yeah, I moved from North Brookfield to my wife's hometown in West Warren.
Okay.
Then,
West Warren.
Yeah.
Okay.
Warren.
Yeah.
By the way, I have a nephew, Mike, David Delansky in Warren, who's got the record of selectmen, 22 years.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Right. Good for him.
Yeah. We moved to Warren, and then from. It was so difficult to get a job as an apprentice back in those days at the Italian trade,
Yeah.
So I wound up in a factory again, injection molds, and I was used to factory work anyway. I did a lot of that. Yeah. But one of the guys that I grew up with, the three of us went to barber school together. Frankie Flandreau, Wally Goodrow. Frankie wound up in Amherst. Okay. So he come down the house, West Warren one day, Des, you still got your license? I said, yeah, why? He says, well, the owners go home in the summertime, and I'm the boss up here. Come on up to Amherst.
Okay.
So I was 24 at the time, see?
Yeah.
And the day I moved, Mike, he quit. Yeah. He got a line on the shop.
Not because of you. We wanted to be another opportunity.
Yeah. A line on the shop on the top of the hill in Leicester, two-chair shop.
Okay.
So there I was. I made the move. I couldn't afford to live in Amherst, so Ernie and Stella Stackowitz owned that barber shop, and Stella got me an apartment in 1952 in Sunland.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. And I finished my apprenticeship in Amherst, got my master's, and in them days, Mike, you could set up a barber shop for $1,500 anywhere in the state. So I was on my way back to my neck of the woods, Central Mass.
Right.
And I got this call. It's Frank Romanowski from Hatfield, see?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the only way I could figure that he would know that there was a barber in Sunland, it had to be through Eddie Fadima, who was a druggist.
Right.
Because I'd go to Mass every Sunday at St. James's and pick up a paper where Bill's pharmacy was, and Bill and Eddie were friends.
Right.
So he must have told Eddie. See, so,
Yeah.
And Frank
So
called
we're starting
me.
to hear a little bit of history here for those of you who are watching.
How I wound up.
You're starting to hear the name Romanowski, the name Fadima.
Yeah, Eddie, the first guy I shook hands with was Eddie Fadima when I came to town. But anyway.
He said, come to Hatfield, we need a barber.
Yeah, he said, Des, I don't feel good. He said, will you run my shop for me? This is 1954 now. Will you run my shop for me for a couple of weeks? Well, at that time, Mike, it was around, this time of the year. It was around Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
Well, I came over, and being like me, I always get lost, so I had that old 40 Dodge. I come down River Road, and instead of continuing on the way, I took a right and wound up on 5 and 10, and it's raining, and the first time I come into town is Chestnut Street. So I come down, and I got the first guy I seen. Of course, there was no island in there for those days, It was double parking.
Right, okay.
So I asked Eddie, I said, where's the barber shop? And he pointed it out. Well, the shade was up about this high, see? And I'm looking and I'm saying to myself, what kind of barber shop is this? All I could see is hunting, tools, fish poles, shotguns. And I'm looking for the chair, and I finally see the chair. It was a beautiful setup, actually. It lit up on both sides. I lost all of that in the fire. But
I remember that.
the first thing I asked Frank, I said, now, haircuts were $1 then, by the way. Yeah.
A buck.
$1.
$1 to get your ears lowered back then.
Back then. Yeah. So the first thing I asked Frank, I said, how do you separate the store from the barbering? Oh, he said, that's easy. He said, the register was right over here. He said, you have a little chit every time you do a haircut, put the chit into the register. That took care of that.
Yeah.
But it was different. Yeah.
So so the first operation was a barbershop and the store operation combined.
Yeah.
And now this is in the center of town, in the
Yeah.
building that was originally, I don't know who owned that building. Was it?
Henry Kugler.
Henry Kugler owned it.
Absolutely.
Right.
Henry Kugler Senior.
Right. Yeah.
Had 7 businesses in them.
There were a bunch of businesses, including a garage, automobile garage on the far left-hand side.
Yeah. His uncle, Eddie's uncle, who just left, ran that garage.
Yes.
Edward Dugell.
Right. Putsy.
That's right. That's another nickname.
Right. We're going to go into some nicknames in a little bit.
Oh boy, with the nickies. Yeah, I was right. In those days, I was right beside the post office. See?
Yeah.
So anybody running for office, town office, no problems getting your paper filled. I mean, it was instant, just about. I had papers galore all the time. It was actually, Mike, it was quite a hangout. Yeah.
It was fun.
I
remember, yeah.
But I remember my happiest Christmas I believe I ever had was 1955.
Yeah.
The Christmas of 1955. Yeah. That was something. I asked Henry, I said, have you got any bulbs? Yeah. And he did. I decorated the whole block. See? And I don't know, you knew Snowball Garden, you heard the name Snowball.
Yes.
Popcorn's his son, that's another nickname. So.
Yes, right.
Well, Francis and I, we ran a cord to the back window of the shop, up over the top, and we had a horn in that nice little maple tree. In those days, there was a little maple tree out front.
Right.
And we played some beautiful, old-fashioned Polish Christmas carols. Oh, that was nice. Yeah. And that was quite a Christmas.
Okay, so
I was straight out in them days.
Right. So you've gotten us how you became a kind of the barber thing, how you ended up in Hatfield. Yeah. Let's back up a little bit more. Let's go back up again and get into the whistling talent.
Oh.
What was going on during that period of time? Obviously, you still had the talent, and you had indicated to me when we met that there were actually producers from New York that were after you.
I don't know why I did this, Michael. I turned down the Godfrey show.
The Arthur Godfrey show?
Yeah, I had a ticket to.
Wow.
I was supposed to go to that, see. But I don't know. I guess it wasn't supposed to be.
Right.
But I did turn that down. Yeah. I just thought of that the other day.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Arthur Godfrey, for those of you who don't know Arthur Godfrey, you probably have heard the name Ed Sullivan. Yeah. There were variety shows that were happening back then that were hosted by some people. And that was one of the most popular shows, the Arthur Godfrey show.
Yeah, it was.
He
made
originated in New York.
Yeah. He made a lot of talent.
Right.
Yeah.
So you actually were approached and turned it down. Now, why did you turn it down? Did you just decide?
I don't think I was really cut out for show business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, maybe, I don't know. It all turned around the other way. Wound up getting married, have a family, 11 grandchildren.
So that career choice,
that
choice, because that probably would have brought you to New York. You would have
absolutely.
You would have left the Valley.
Yeah, I would have never gotten married.
That's right, and would have brought you to New York, and none of
this would have happened.
Right. So I mean, your talents were certainly recognized, and I mean, and as you've just heard, hopefully, you did hear it reasonably well over the television. I mean, it's a rare talent. It's a gift.
I'm going to tell you about one of the funniest ones, Mike.
Okay.
This is years ago now. Mrs. Murphy came in the shop. She said, "Des."
Mrs. who, Murphy?
Murphy.
Okay.
Yeah, she lived on Prospect Street.
Okay.
Didn't know in town, but she said, "Des, will you sing for my daughter's wedding?" And of course, I always say yes without knowing what I'm getting into,
Right.
I said, "Sure." Where? The Newman Center. I said, "Oh?" Jeez. So I go over there on a Friday night. The organist is from Holyoke. I just meet him for the first time, Mike. See?
Yeah. Yeah.
Father Quigley's in there, but he's facing the altar.
Yeah.
See?
Right.
So on the way up to the organ, this guy says to me, "I understand you can whistle." I said, "Why?" Yeah. He said, "All my life, I wanted to hear the bells of St. Mary whistled." Well, I forgot I was in church, Mike. And I said to him, "When we get up there, you play the bells of St. Mary." So I'm whistling the bells of St. Mary in church. And Father Quigley spins around on his right heel and he goes. He loves it. See?
Loved it, huh?
So this guy's going to take advantage of this quick. See? Boy, he says, "You're going to do something different tomorrow. You're going to sing too and whistle too." And that's the way it went down.
Unbelievable. So in addition to the whistling gift, this guy's actually a singer as well. Yeah. Now, did the voice, at one point you had both. You had the whistling talent and the singing and the voice.
The voice came later.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, you passed up the opportunities to leave the valley with your talents and decided to continue barbering and bring up a family.
Another thing I never told you, Mike. In 1961, the Pioneer Valley Association in Northampton, they wanted a song of this valley. And they had stipulations. They wanted the words Dan O'Shea, and they wanted the words Pioneer Valley in the lyrics.
Okay.
Now, I never wrote a song in my life.
Okay.
But in them days, I went to 6 o'clock Mass Saturday night. Mm-hmm. I got the tune in church. But I couldn't even afford a tape recorder. So I know I'm going to lose it, see?
Right.
So when I got home, I whistled it over the phone to my cousin Helen Desmond in Simsbury, who could play the piano, write the music. So she wrote it down.
Okay.
So I know I got the tune, it's safe, see?
Great.
So now I got to come up with the lyrics.
Yeah.
So let's see. You don't walk into the valley anymore. So I put down, as you're riding down the highway and you come to Dan O'Shea, you're arriving in the valley where the winding river plays, where the Pioneer Valley sunrise meets the hazy Connecticut range. In all of nature's finery, it couldn't be better arranged. And I said, that's not long enough. So travel further up the highway and you come to high country. You will see the buckets hanging from the maple syrup tree. Well, it's all in 3/4 time. I sent it in and got a government copyright on it.
Good.
In 61, yeah. We used it a lot during our centennial when we were 300 years old.
Yes.
Yeah, Joyce Rankin was playing
Yes.
and the whole group of us would be on the Hamp station singing that.
Ah.
Yeah, we used it a lot during the anniversary.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Yes.
We're adding talent on top of talent here because there was the whistling talent, there was the barbering talent, which is still being exercised, utilized, and there was the singing talent, and on top of that is now the songwriting talent. Yeah. So
all gifts.
All gifts,
right?
Gifts. All gifts, all gifts.
Yeah, that's hereditary.
Right.
My father was.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about the barbering. Let's because obviously that was kind of the day job.
Yeah.
That you chose and began, as far as Hatfield is concerned, in the center of town, the old Kugler building. Now, memories from that. I mean, obviously, the big negative there was the fire, which was
1982,
yeah,
Mike. Yeah.
And that building was devastated.
Boy, yeah. They built it back up again, and it burned down again.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it burned again. Right.
Yeah, I lost everything.
Right.
In that one. So luckily, I could move home.
Right.
So we set up over there.
Now, when you first moved into town, and I remember this, and I'm aging myself now too.
Every day, Mike.
I know. Yeah. You and your family lived behind the Kugler building.
Which was known as Kugler's Alley.
Kugler's Alley. You had some apartments back in there.
Yeah.
So that's where you moved your family into.
Right. Right in the duplex.
In the duplex.
Yeah.
And you had, I'm trying to remember your children's names.
My oldest one is Daniel.
Daniel, right?
Then Barbara.
Yeah.
Then Dorothy.
Yeah.
Then Mary.
And Mary.
And Patty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you lived there until.
Well, we lived there for 5 years, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my wife and I would go behind the school on a bicycle, and the house that I'm in now, that was vacant for a couple of years,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
And
That's the house that's just to the right of the center school building.
yeah, right.
Where
And
the shop is.
boy, oh boy, we were looking at that, and Doc Kaiser lived there, you know, for about 10 years too.
That's right.
Right above the barber shop was his bedroom. Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah. Doc was there for 10. He used to call Mrs. Shea, who by the way was a sweetheart. She used to call him Marche. Yeah, he did. Doc.
And Doc built his house across from
And when he
the
did
former
that-
St. Joseph's
When he
Church.
did that, Marche went with him.
Okay.
See, and that's how I could get to buy the place.
Yeah.
Back in 1960.
Yeah.
I don't know where all the time went.
I know.
It's going. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but
over 50 years now. You've been
yeah. In them days, you had the boys part of the school was on that side. See?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And you had a chain across.
Yes. I
Yeah.
remember that.
You remember that,
I
right?
remember
Yeah,
that.
a
Yeah.
chain across.
Yeah.
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 How things have changed.
Oh, I know. I know. Yeah. So you moved into the house. The family you brought the family, and the barber shop. Once the second fire occurred, I guess now you moved the shop into the house because the.
That was 1982.
1982,
Yeah,
right.
That's when the fire was.
And the primary reason for that, I mean, I guess whoever reconstructed the current buildings on the site, there just wasn't room for a barber shop, and you decided by then to you had enough fires.
Yeah, you know, I was already home.
Right.
I didn't go back.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
had room to right.
Well, actually, Mike, I had 29 years in the center
Right.
and 29 years at home.
Now at home now. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
58 years in all. Wow.
Right.
Yeah. That's a lot of hair, Mike.
Yes. Yes.
It's a lot of sweeping.
A lot
Yeah.
of sweeping.
Yeah, a lot of hair.
Right. A lot of different colors. A lot of
Yeah.
different shapes.
But it's actually a lot of fun. I must love it because, well, I do love it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
Well,
I love talking with people.
Right, and it's not.
that's
and
the
it's
main
not.
thing.
It's not necessarily a craft in a way. Well, it is in a way.
Oh, yeah.
You're an artist of sorts, even
Yeah.
with
I got to tell you this one, Mike.
doing that.
This blew my mind. Over in Amherst, this little guy came in for a haircut. He was only 2 years old. His father brought him in. It took 4 of us, 4 barbers, to cut his hair. See? Yeah. And I get over to Hatfield, and this guy's coming with the same kid. And I'm all alone. And I'm saying to myself, what does he think? He gets it. In they come. I put the board up. He sat in the chair. No problem at all.
Well behaved all of a sudden.
Yeah. And the father and I are looking at one another.
Yeah.
You know what it was, Mike?
How long?
When he came into Amherst, we all wore white smocks.
Okay.
And that poor little guy,
I thought you were doctors.
yeah, he was dealing with the hospital all his little
Sure.
young life. And he was scared. He was genuine. He was
Yeah.
scared stiff.
Sure.
Luckily that day, not knowing this guy was going to
thought you
come,
were gonna start sticking needles in
I
him
had a
and
blue smock on. It worked. We both,
Oh, he's just a nurse. I don't have to worry about it.
yeah, yeah. But oh boy, was that scary. Yeah. And then, you know, kids when they got a haircut, I did a lot of kids. One of their favorite things is this. The fast, and thank God for hands like this and fast reflexes.
yeah,
I
because
never
they
nicked
do it.
one. Never, not one.
Yeah.
Never. I was fast enough, lucked out.
So let's look at the barbering years and the barber shop. You know, any kind of key memories. You know, that really jump out in your mind. You know, funny things or crazy things or things you were able to observe that were happening in the center of town.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
you were right there in the midst of everything.
Yeah, there was a sad thing that happened right in the center of town one time. Let's see if I can, Frank Rogaleski. He was cutting across the street. I didn't happen to be home at the time, but the car hit him and knocked him right over, past the garage, right in the alleyway.
Really?
The guy from Connecticut, he didn't see him. Those were the days you had. It was kind of foggy, and
Yeah.
you didn't have the lights you got today.
Right. Right. Yeah.
That was sad.
Yeah.
But funny things as far in the front, gosh, because I was across from Smith Academy.
Right.
And every day when school got out, noontime, at 11:30, all the kids would pile in the shop.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Well, there was a class years ago, they got very, very good at chess playing. See? Yeah. And Magoo, there goes another nickname.
Yeah,
Who was
that's
young.
David Floatin.
That's right. You know Mike.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
He was the champ.
Yeah.
He was the champ. So they're playing on my candy counter. And Murph,
Bobby Burke.
right. Don't bother me, Magoo, he says. You don't want to
I'm
play.
really aging myself.
Yeah.
But, this is supposed to be your show, not mine.
Murph said, don't bother me. But he kept teasing Murph.
Yeah.
I don't know how this happened, but Bobby checkmated him in 4 moves, not even knowing how he done it. And he said to Magoo, he said, how do you like that? That was funny.
Yeah. He was a character.
Oh,
he really
God.
was. Yeah.
I miss Murph.
Yeah.
That's a real nice guy.
The center of town back then was the hub of the community.
Sure was.
Literally.
Yeah.
Not only were the stores there,
Everything
because
was there.
there was at one time a food mart there. It was.
You had my wife.
Was that
ran
First
a
National?
store. My wife ran the All-Star store for 12 years there.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
The All-Star store
Right
was
aside
there.
of me. Right
But at
aside
one
the
point, I
shop.
remember, wasn't there a First National there? Remember the First National food stores?
Absolutely. When I came to town, Mike, First National with Walter Coolhead ran the First National. That was the biggest store, and Henry
the far to the right.
started with that. See, but,
That's right.
yeah.
Right.
Well, I got to tell you this. This is, wow. 1948, this is before my time now, see. Jack Howard's telling me this.
Yeah.
See, he owned that. That was all Howard's. See.
Yeah.
Well, he sold it to Henry Kugler for $10,000. Henry walked down School Street with a shoebox under his arm. Yeah, at 8 o'clock in the morning, he rapped on the door. He said, Jack, what you were saying last night, you were serious? Bingo, he sold it. But Henry started with the big store, with First National,
Right.
Which Fadima ended up in the end.
Yeah,
Mike,
right.
yeah.
Eddie Fredima's
Then
pharmacy.
He went from there right over to the garage.
Yeah.
So that included drugstore, post office, hairdresser, garage, 2 women in haberdashery. Yeah, 7 businesses.
Yeah.
And then he owned the 3 houses behind.
Behind,
There was 6 rents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you said, Smith Academy.
It was right across the street.
The 2 schools. in
Everything
town.
was down center.
Right. Smith Academy was there. Secondary school.
Yeah.
The center school was operational at that point. That was at that point the elementary school.
That was the hub. You're right, Mike. That was the hub of the town. In them
that
days.
was everything happened in the center of town.
Yeah, in the
gas station, the post office, the food store, the hairdresser, the barber shop.
Henry Slavosky became chief of police when I came to town
Right.
in 1954.
Yeah.
And he started with the kids in the kindergarten, so we knew them all.
He knew him, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And he was a great chief, by the way.
Yes, he was.
He was great.
Yeah, remember him.
He was
I remember
wonderful.
him very well.
Yeah, good old days. He was the fun.
Yeah. So at some point we maybe play another. If we have time, we might do another whistling tune. But let's talk about some of the characters of Hatfield. Some of the, and I know there are probably some female characters as well, but most memorable are some of the guys in town. Now,
Bob Dunn was one of the most memorable.
one of the things that Desi has done over this last few years, and I don't know, and again, this has to be recorded and copied or whatever at some point. He has put together, has compiled a list of the names of men in this community over I don't know how many years, probably the last 50 years,
At least.
and their respective nicknames. Now, I don't know why, and maybe this is true with other small towns throughout the country, but there's something about Hatfield where every single male in town had or has a nickname.
Very,
am I
very
pretty much
close
correct?
to everything. Very close, Mike. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah, just about everybody.
yeah, and I think that's everyone had a nickname, and it was.
In fact, you use a nickname so much that if somebody asked you the real name, you had a
didn't
hard time remembering.
Right, you didn't know it.
Yeah, you didn't know it.
You didn't know it.
Well, yeah,
So
the Nickies.
pick up this pad here.
Yeah, we'll start.
He's got a yellow lined legal pad, and how many pages? Just curious, how many?
Well, let's
how many
see.
pages? It's probably got 30, 40 lines per page, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A good 5.
At least 5 pages. Yeah.
Pages.
Well, my daughter Dory, that lives in North Hatfield, she asked me, she said, "Dad, do that." And so she's the one that gave me this idea. Get the Nickies.
Yeah.
Because I want them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's how
Yeah.
it started.
And so this is something that he's put together, and he continues to put together as he starts to know, or has opportunities to know more and meet more and more people and find out their nicknames.
Yeah.
So
You want to hear some of these, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's hear some.
Okay, let's start off with Eugene Prue, better known as Bootsy,
Bootsy.
right?
Right.
How about
Gene
Arthur?
Prue was the fellow who's actually initiated, and this guy that pretty much responsible for the annual luminarium.
Absolutely,
in
he
town.
was responsible.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah,
also
and-
headed up the parade in 1970.
And the parade.
It was
And
great.
passed away,
Oh,
what,
quite a
20
few-
years ago?
Yeah,
maybe? No.
God, the way the time goes by.
Yeah.
And his brother Archie, well, it was Arthur Prue.
his
Archie, see,
nickname already.
yeah, I got the nickname first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
I got to look over.
now let's pick out some of the
Kenny Blyce, Kelly.
Kelly. See,
Kelly.
I didn't know that.
No,
Okay.
no.
Yeah.
Now, then you had, oh my God. Oh, Helen Bardwell, Huddy.
Huddy. Yeah.
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 And Dave Bell, of course, is Ding.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the guys I cared for an awful lot was Henry Betzel, Uncle Heine, or
Heine.
Unc.
Yeah.
Unc.
Yeah.
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 Then you had Edward Jaworski, Shipwreck.
Shipwreck.
Charlie Eberline, Chuggy.
Chucky.
Harold Smith, Huck Smith.
Yeah.
And you had Herbert Smith, was Geeb. Geeb.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Geeb's youngest.
Bobby Burke.
Geeb's oldest just passed away.
Yes,
Charlie. Yeah.
Charlie. Bobby Burke was Murph.
Murph. Yeah.
Tom Mullaney was Tuck.
Yeah.
Joseph Piankowski,
Joe
Pinky.
Pikowski, Pinky.
Pinky.
Yeah. Some of them are, are pretty,
You remember him.
Yeah.
Now the Pealises. Noonie was Eddie Pealis.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Pikey was Walter Pealis.
Yeah.
Connie stayed Connie.
Yeah, he did.
One of the rare ones.
Yeah.
see?
Connie never ended up with a
You had Chelsea Pealis.
Chelsea. Yeah. He.
That was
kept
Bernie
his name.
Pealis.
Yeah.
Yeah. And look at Collegian now, how they had.
Yeah.
The nicknames, where'd they come from?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It had to. Most nicknames, as I remember going through school, they started in school.
Yeah.
Either there was some
Yeah.
event or something you did, or something you liked, or whatever. But that's kind of how they began.
Of course, Gordon Woodard, Gordy.
Gordy. Yeah.
Gordy.
Yeah.
That's shutting up.
Yeah.
Yeah, who we got? Oh, Jimmy Majeski. How's this one? Jasper.
Jasper. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Who else do we got? Oh, Robert Kowalski.
Jingles.
There you are.
Yeah.
See, you know a lot of these nicknames,
I know.
Mike.
Well,
Yeah.
like I said.
Yeah. How about this one? Edward Ryan Sr. You know, you wouldn't know this. And he was called Horse Ryan.
Okay.
Horse.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Raymond Blythe. Rocky.
Rocky. Yeah. Rocky. Yeah. Yeah.
American Zanaria.
Zip.
Yes, you've got a good memory, Mike. You've got a good memory. Yeah.
Americo. Yeah.
How about Edward Skapatowski? Sharpie.
Sharpie.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He was something else. Joe Zish. That was no Joe Red.
Tiger and Panther.
Tiger and Panther.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
David Peelis.
I mean.
Doy.
Doy. Yeah. Yeah.
That's just this page.
Right.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. So it all depends on how much time you got. So.
Let's see. Let me see the list. I want to go through.
You look.
Just look at some of the.
You look at it.
Yeah. See if there's some unusual ones there. Chickup. One of the nicknames was Chickup.
Right. That was a nickname.
Yeah. That's Henry Skorupski.
That's it, Mike. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, you got a good memory, Mike. You should look at
I'll
some
remember
of that.
a lot of these because I've been around a while. Joe Red.
Yeah, Joe Red.
Who was
Joe
Joe
Zish.
Zish.
Yeah.
No, he was
the youngest one.
Yeah. Oh, and the other ones were Panther and Tiger. So
Absolutely.
You had a Panther, a Tiger, and a Joe Red.
Yeah. I went up to the dump one time and I called Panther by his real name. He said, "Don't call me by that. Call me Panther."
Okay. Buckwheat.
Yeah. Bill Corley.
Yeah, Billy Corsa.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Bill Corsa. Let's see. Slug.
Slish.
Slug Slish.
Right.
Stanley Slish.
Stanley Slish.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to go down through some of these that are pick up some of the unusual ones.
Yeah.
And this one, Butzik. I think that's how we pronounce it. I think it was that.
Butzik.
Albert O'Master.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let's see what else. Zush. Pat Zagrodnik.
Oh yeah, Nush.
Yeah. Yeah. Strawberry. Joe Kalintik.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really. The names, how they originated, God only knows.
That you don't know.
There was Putzi. We were talking about Putzi a
Edward
little while
Dugal.
ago. Putzi was the fellow who operated the automobile garage, who in that building that was in the center of town to the far left was the automobile garage. There was gasoline there and everything else. So Putzi was the mechanic. And
good
he
one
operated
too, boy.
Oh yeah, for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And Teeny, Stanley Kugler.
Stanley Kugler.
Who's still around. Just see if there's any. There's one. I don't know if you have this one on here, and I need to have you put. I don't know why it just came into my mind because I saw another one that kind of remind Uncle Turkey. You don't have that on here. You should put that on here. That's Eddie Roboleski. His nickname was Uncle Turkey.
Well, I got to put that down.
You definitely got to add that.
I should have had Eddie.
I always found that to be.
Eddie's a good friend. I should have that one down.
That was his nickname in high school.
Yeah, I never knew that. He never mentioned it either.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, and you got Tack. Richard O'Day.
Absolutely.
Dick O'Day. And his father, believe it or not, was nicknamed Spike.
Yep.
So you get the Spike and the Tack.
Spike and the Tack.
So they, in some of these, there's actually a logic to them as the ancestry.
Yeah, they connect somehow.
Comes out. So, yeah. Oh, and then you got Dubba, which is
Stanley.
Yeah, George.
George.
Yeah.
Dubba.
Yeah. Sadowski. So. And Stanley, you don't have
Stanley.
Stan Syke.
Yeah, it's Syke. I got it down.
Yeah, you got that on there.
Yeah.
So
a lot of names there.
This in and of itself is a
C on the end.
is a valuable document, which at some point, hopefully someone Desi will continue to do this, and you'll leave this with someone who's going to continue to do this over time. Because this kind of thing really at some point should go into the museum or something.
Yeah, probably. I'll tell you, it was a sad day, Mike. It was awful busy, see. Yeah. Place was loaded, the shop was loaded. Guy stuck his head in the door. He says, "I'm looking for Herman Lambie." Now, I knew all the Lambies. See. Luckily for me, there was a native. Yeah. Archie Prue was in here waiting for him.
Archie was around, yeah.
He says, "He means John."
So?
That was his real name. I never knew until then. He used to pull his truck up, and he'd have Big John on the truck. Yeah. And every time he'd open the door, Mike, as soon as John would open the door, he'd say, "Desaloo, Babaloo." And he always had a crew cut. You know, when I first come to town, of course, it goes way back. A lot of these guys had their hair parted in the middle.
Oh, sure. That was the...
So I taught quite a few of them into crew cuts. Yeah, and they like that.
Yeah. And then the hair kind of, style kind of evolved.
Oh yeah.
Into crew cuts and on and on and on.
I worked for a woman, Mike, over in Stella Stakowitz and Ernie Stakowitz. They both came from Hadley originally, but they owned a 5-chair shop between two colleges, Amherst College and the university. And she was without doubt the greatest barber I ever seen in my life. Now, in barber school, they do not show you how to give a flat top. They're the most difficult haircuts. They have to be perfect. Yeah. Stell would put one of those out, Mike, without a comb, every 7 minutes.
Wow.
Haircuts were 90 cents in those days.
Wow. 7 minutes for
every 7 minutes, right. And it was a mess.
Now, were they called? They used to call
they were crew cuts.
A butch, right?
Butch, crew cut, all kinds of names.
Flat top or whatever, right?
Yeah. And I didn't know how to give one of those. See, so I'm the young punk down in the corner. See, right. The apprentice, I'm 24 at the time, and I'm praying down there. No one sits in my chair wants a crew cut because I didn't know how.
Yeah.
So the inevitable happened. Oh boy. A tall guy like you with black hair and a white scalp, one of Stella's crew cuts. It was already established, see. The dumbest thing I did that day, Mike, was start that haircut. 3/4 of an hour later.
You butchered it.
And he had to walk by the other barbers, He was walking straight and going crooked at the same time. Well, I'll never forget that. Yeah. Then there was a guy by the name of Dr. Post. Thank God for Dr. Post. Stella would cut his hair all the time, but he come down to my chair one day, Mike, and he introduced himself. He says, "Look towards the window. Is it hazy?" And I looked towards the window, and it was hazy. He says, "I've been watching you." Somebody put glasses. It was my first prescription of glasses. I got most of opticians. Yeah. Somebody put glasses on me without coordinating my vision. Yeah. He says, and he knew that. Imagine that.
Yeah.
I wanted to see you in the office. Oh, boy, that worked out good. Good old doc.
One of the highlights of the of our visit of a couple of years ago was when I was about ready to leave. You began to talk about how you had written some songs.
Yeah.
And one of the songs that you wrote, and my recollection is a little fuzzy at this point, was a I think it was a Christmas song.
Yeah, on the way home.
And on your way home from the shop
to the house.
All of a sudden this song dawned on you, and as I was leaving, and leaving Desi's house, I remember going on the porch and was kind of making my way. Saying our goodbyes, and this guy starts singing this song that he created, authored, wrote. He was basically the songwriter of this melody, and I don't know if the voice is there today or.
That's why I've got to put this in my mouth, Mike.
There's some water here if you want a little sip of water.
Yeah, that'll help.
But I can't think of.
I wrote down and I don't know where this stuff comes from, Well, it was snowing nice. It was pretty. It's close to Christmas.
Yeah, it was a snowy winter night.
Now the snow is falling, falling to the ground. Santa and his reindeer soon will be around. Down the chimney flying, laughter all around. Santa Claus is coming, coming through the town. Girls and boys together, laughter and good cheer. Santa and his reindeer soon are drawing near. And you go back to the first part of the song. I don't know what it is.
And that just happened, but the
I
lyrics and the tune.
I never told you this one, Mike. This is on a bus. I'm 17 years old. I got out of boot camp, see.
Yeah.
I'm between Norfolk and Richmond.
Yeah.
And it's early in the morning. It was a beautiful morning. It was about 5 o'clock maybe. And I write this down. I said, in the morning at dawning, when the sun comes into view, and the birds sing a melody only they can do, and the sun in all its glory brightens up the day, a day of light, a day of trust, a day that's here to stay. How common is this thing to us, a day of light, a day of trust? What if we couldn't see this day so fine? What if we were blind? I call to count your blessings. But don't ask me.
Some lyrics.
Yeah,
That just came to you.
Yeah, just like that.
Yeah.
Well, no, I was so happy to get out of boot
Oh,
camp.
you were happy to be.
I was on the bus
home,
going home.
That was the excitement.
Yeah, you're right.
Now
I finally got out of there.
Okay, so those are the lyrics. Did you conceive a tune?
No, I didn't. I never put a tune to that one.
No.
Yeah.
Well, Des, it's been a lot of fun.
This has, Mike.
And I'm really glad that
you've got
that
time
you
for
saw
another one
fit
of these.
finally to. I've been bugging him for a year or two anyway to do this, so that we could record all this.
I'm glad
and
we
have
did.
it somewhere other than on his CD and in his mind and in my
I'm
mind.
glad we did it now, Mike. It's
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, and people will be able to view this, hopefully for a long, long, long time.
It's history.
Yeah, it is. It's history.
It's history.
And you
That's
continue
history.
to
I gotta put
do
that
your
on.
list of nicknames, and maybe we can do an update in 10 years.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for watching. That's about all the time we have today for this installment of Hatfield Currents. And we really want to thank Desi for a very interesting and entertaining visit for sure. Thank you guys for watching from home, and we hope you enjoyed it, and we hope you know a little bit more about this guy, one of our long-term residents that's had incredible stories to share with us and to whistle to us and to sing to us. You get a sense for all of the talents that he's been blessed with over the years, and how he's been able to put those to good use. Just a reminder, we continue to look for people or topics to utilize for shows, Hatfield Current shows. So if you have any ideas and if you're interested at all, please contact me or the Cable Advisory Committee. Before I sign off, I want to thank the Hatfield Currents production team. Hatfield Currents airs on Channel 15 Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays at 9 in the morning, 1:30 in the afternoon, 7 at night, and 10 at night. And then again on Sundays at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You can also watch the show at the cable TV's website. That's hctvonline.org. That's hctvonline.org. You can see this show and you can see past shows, and you'll be able to see future shows 24/7 on the web if you don't have a chance to watch it on Channel 15. So again, I want to thank Desi very much for joining me. It was really fun.
It was.
I think we did pretty much replicate that visit I had with him a couple of years ago. We want to thank you for watching Hatfield Currents. We hope you did enjoy the show. For Hatfield Currents, I'm Mike Cahill. Watch yourself, Hatfield.
Hey, Desi, can you sing it, whistle us out?
Want to whistle? He can't. He can't whistle anymore.
I know, but it's...
Oh, you want one of
maybe
these?
you can do
Sure.
a song.
Absolutely. Hawaiian song.
Good segue to the end.